Hi. Thank you so much. So 14 years ago, the very, very first thing we ever did at the Institute for Excellence in Sales was an award event. We said, let's do an award event. I had a friend who was a recruiter. Let's do an award event, and there's award events for everything. So we said, let's do one for sales. There's really not one for sales. So we held it at the USA It was a competing hotel to our friends at the Hilton. It was a great event. We had about 300 people there, and we recognized our first Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. His name is Rob Guerra. He was a well-known BD leader in the public sector space. We then recognized the great Jay Nussbaum. We then recognized Ann Altman, who was leading IBM at the time. We then recognized Bruce Klein, who recognized Cisco, led Cvent Partners globally, also led Cisco and HP's public sector. Then Mark Weber, who at the time was running NetApp, and Mark introduced us to Rob when he went over there. Then Paul Smith, who was running Red Hat at the time, now runs Rancher. We then had Teresa Carlson, who was running Amazon Web Services at the time. And then Mark Testoni, who ran SAP NS2. Then the pandemic happened. We recognized Craig virtually. It was great. We had about 800 people watching virtually. We actually had the guy who wrote the song Eye of the Tiger actually sang the song Eye of the Tiger to Craig and to DG as well. DG was our member of the year. If anybody knows who that guy is, anybody know who wrote the song Eye of the Tiger? Jim Peterick is his name with the band Survivor. All right, then we had Tony Towns-Whitley, who was running Microsoft regulated business at the time. And then we had Dave Ray with Salesforce. And last year we had Joe Ayers and Susan Shapiro. So this year when we were getting together, we have a committee. The way we do it is we poll, Gina and myself, we poll a whole bunch of people. Who has been a leader of brands? Doesn't have to be public sector, but leader of big brands, has people who've worked for him or her over their career and have gone on to other great things. You heard us talk about that with Jay Nussbaum before. Who has amazing partner relationships where partners would want to show up at a Friday morning to acknowledge and recognize. Who has customer relationships that are critical to mission of entities and public sector organizations, agencies, whatever they might be, and who really embodies a lot of the personality and a lot of the characteristics that you've heard today and that Tom Snyder mentioned in his speech. And universally, the name Jim Kelly kept coming up time and time again. Have you guys recognized Jim Kelly yet? How come you haven't recognized Jim Kelly yet? Why haven't you recognized Jim Kelly yet? Are you going to recognize, so we said, all right. So I know some personal friends. We have a mutual friend named Casey Veach, who is the person who actually introduced me to Northern Virginia Family Service. And he called me and he said, have you recognized Jim Kelly yet? So anyway, we're recognizing Jim. We're very excited for this. I want to invite two of our industry level sponsors to come on stage, Tracy with Government Acquisitions and Rick with Fed Data, to say a few words, and then we'll bring on Joe Ayers.
JK. Right there. All right. Excellent. It's a real honor to be invited to come up and say some words. When I first got the call, I caught part of a voicemail that said Jim somebody. It broke up then, and I'm like, who's Jim? And it's like, it's JK. It's, oh, JK. All right, sorry. So Jim Kelly. Hi, Melanie. Fred was basically, you got like 3 minutes, man, so keep it short. And I'm like, it'd be a lot easier if I had half a day to go on and on about how great JK is, because he's truly a remarkable person. So the good news is everybody in the room knows him, so they all know how great you are. So I'd figure I would just kind of take a subset of what working with Jim is like for me. Two of the core things for me are, the biggest one, we have a lot of customers together in the intelligence community. Trust is a big, huge one. There are a lot of really talented people out there who I don't trust. It's just the way it goes, but I trust JK, I trust his team implicitly. We've worked together on a lot of challenging, hairy situations, and through thick and thin, there's good times, and we love the good times, and it's easy to get along with people when times are good. We've gone through some challenging times, but that's where those relationships really mean a lot, and that's where someone like Jim really shines through. Greatly appreciate him being in the position that he's in. And he's got public sector. That's rough. Public sector is really, really big. There's just a ton to it. It's very sophisticated. It's a very complicated set of clients and the environment with working with the government. I just feel like watching JK, he just artfully and masterfully flows through. I think, you know, I think one of the things that really gets me is we'll be in a situation, sometimes we'll have a customer, it'll be very impromptu. I see him and I get a sense of relief because it's like, he's here, I know I can introduce him, and I know he's immediately just gonna be okay. I know he's gonna come off really good, he's gonna be very stable, he's gonna know what to explain, how to do it, you know, he's just can always be counted on, always reliably knows about everything that's going on in his realm within Dell, and how we connect through that with our customers. He's always be counted upon, I guess is the best way to put it. And we all know in our industry, there are people that are really good often, but there are times where you're like, oh no, I don't know if now's the right time. It's never that way with JK ever. So, you know, the trust component, being able to know I can pick up the phone and call him and he's gonna answer, or I'll get a quick text saying, hey, I'm in a meeting, I'll call you right back. Knowing that when we talk, I know I'm getting the real Jim. He's gonna tell me what's up. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but we can kind of get to it so we can focus on, you know, how to go in and close, how to win, how to finish on top. The other side of it is really just the extraordinary acumen, you know, within the executive realm. There's a lot of people that are really good at a lot of the parts, very good at these parts, not so good at these parts. What I love about JK is he's really good at all of them, in my opinion. He's very, very good at being flexible. He's very, very good at dealing with sometimes very challenging but very talented people that you need in the organization. You need to keep them happy. He's good at managing customer expectations. He's very good at managing partner expectations. He's just always really good. There's no area where, hey man, Jim's really good with all this, but here I'm a little worried or whatever. No, you know, Jim's on top with all of it. And stringing that all together is one of the reasons why I think he's here today being honored. On top of it all too, I really genuinely enjoy working with JK a whole lot. Every time I see him, if there's a big group, you know, he's public sector. Everybody wants to talk to him. He'll come over, hey Rick, how's it going? You know, we'll shake hands, we'll chat in maybe 45 seconds, but it always amazes me. So, because he's that good. So, it's the 2024 IES Sales Excellence Award Series. He's the 14th Lifetime Achievement Awardee. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Tracy. And thanks a lot for everything, JK. Congratulations to you and your family.
Jim, I was going to talk for 20 minutes, but if I do, I'm going to miss my flight. So you're going to get the short version. I've had the pleasure of knowing Jim since 2004. I know this because I looked it up. I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, so much less what year we would have met. But Jim and I were kind of in the same foxhole for a long time. We started, or when I first met Jim, we were both individual contributors at Dell, and we spent the next 15 years kind of working our way up through the ranks and spent a lot of time. We both took detours into selling software full time. We all make bad decisions on occasion, right, Jim? And we both ended up back at Dell, and I've had the pleasure of working with Jim for a little over 20 years now, in the capacity of peer, teammate, technology provider, and for the last 4 years as a channel partner. And there's just nobody in the industry that I would rather work with. You're an amazing leader. You know, if you don't know Jim very well, he kind of appears like this soft, fuzzy, cuddly dude on the outside, but underneath that exterior, there is a really hyper-competitive, really intelligent guy that knows how to win and very rarely ever loses. So, if the award criteria are, you know, 30-ish years of service to the customer's mission, delivering fantastic financial results, and always doing it the right way, you're a great winner. Thanks, Jim. Congrats.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Fed Data and Government Acquisitions today. we have a tradition where last year's Lifetime Achievement recipient comes up and says a few words to this year's to give us a little piece. It's a good thing that we have Joe Ayers from last year because he knows JK very well. Hey, by the way, JK, DG, JK. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Ayers is going to say a few words.
All right. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Gina. It's another great event. Mom, Fred's doing a great job. Glad you're here, okay? Okay. Hey, and then for the awardees, it was really nice to listen to some of the discussions on the awardees. I really enjoyed Tom's discussion. That was certainly impactful. And I really hit home on the science of sales. So I'm in sales, been in sales for 25 years, so if you can bear with me a few minutes, I'm definitely going to share some thoughts on what I saw with JK over the years, and I think that will be helpful. But other folks that we listened to, from Rebecca, I've known Rebecca for 25 years. Margot, congratulations. Erin, my wife's in sales. I feel your pain, brother. Reggie and Chuck, that was outstanding. Sherilyn, well done in the discussion. So I stand before you as a profound sense of honor to introduce this year's 14th IES Lifetime Achievement Award, Jim Kelly. Now, Jim, I keep seeing that picture of you, and it's burned into my skull now. So I did have to get that out there too. That I didn't quite know that all the partners were going to put that picture up. Somebody says, but that will be there. So let me give you a little insights into Jim, and I think this will be helpful, especially for the sales professionals in the room, because I think it's helpful to understand why. Why does somebody keep going on the club trips? Why does he or she win? And I think if you were to understand the why, I think it helps you to position yourself for future success. So next month, it'll actually be a quarter century. I've had the privilege of knowing Jim Kelly. Today, I stand here compelled to share what sets him apart as an extraordinary individual and leader. In my conversation with Jim, as I prepared for the moment, he eliminated two aspects of his life he holds most dear. First, his family, and also his commitment to growing his team and helping them grow along the path. Beside Jim today are his pillars of strength, his wife, Melanie, and their two children, Jacob and Riley. Jim shared with me his no daylight communication strategy. His own team may know this, but he shared it with me when we had a quick discussion. And in his case, ensuring that his family and his family work environment remains not just connected, but truly aligned. Melanie stands as his foremost advisor, her counsel shaping not only family, but also Jim's approach to some of his most challenging endeavors. To be honest, we all know who runs the roost there, Melanie. Well done. Jim's federal leadership team stands as a testament to his commitment to empowering others. He fosters an environment where each individual is not just a part of the team, but a vital contributor to his success. Through his no daylight communication style, Jim ensures clarity and purpose, preventing ambiguity from seeping into the highest echelons of the organization. It's a strategy that ensures a consistent message up and down the chain of command. Or as Jim puts it, the fewer misunderstandings, the fewer times I get yelled at. Conversation with Jim's colleagues reveal an unparalleled admiration for his leadership and prowess, and we've already heard that from some of the speakers already. In the complex landscape of federal IT, Jim's expertise reigns supreme. His reputation is such that esteemed CIOs seek his counsel. One service CIO from DOD asked Jim for his cell number so he could text him with questions. Just imagine, Jim's the kind of guy who doesn't just get calls at 3 a.m., he gets text messages too. Jim's impact extends far beyond the confines of our immediate circle. He's a guiding light for our entire industry, and let's be clear, that's not just because of his fancy title or his great haircut or that beautiful picture that's burned into our skulls. Reflecting back to the year 2000, Jim's response to my inquiry about his sales success still resonates with me. It's easy for me, Joe. And I stared at him when he said that, and I swear it took me a couple more years to really appreciate what he meant, why it was easier for him. So let's go into it. Over the years, I've come to understand the depth of Jim's talents, his innate ability to connect with people, his encyclopedic knowledge of our industry, and a memory so sharp it's almost supernatural. It's as if Jim possessed an extraordinary gift bestowed upon only the most exceptional of leaders. Either that or he's a secret robot, but I'm leaning towards the first option. Jim's interactions are nothing short of mesmerizing. He navigates the intricate dance of human connections with a grace and finesse that captivates all those that have the privilege of witnessing it. His understanding of human psychology is impressive. He takes the lessons gleaned from the timeless wisdom of Dale Carnegie in his book, Winning Friends and Influencing People, and turns it into an art form. Jim doesn't just build relationships. He forges bonds that withstand the test of time. He's like a human superglue. And then there's Jim's memory, a force to be reckoned with. In countless meetings, I've watched Jim effortlessly absorb and recall vast amounts of information, leaving even the most seasoned professionals in awe. His memory isn't just a tool, it's a weapon wielded with precision to navigate the complexities of the industry's landscape. Today, we celebrate Jim and Melanie's accomplishments. We are reminded that greatness is not achieved alone. Their partnership serves as an inspiration for all, a testament to the power of collaborations of support. Behind every great man and woman is another great person. And in Melanie, we all know the absolute truth. In closing, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to Jim and Melanie. Your impact extends far beyond the confines of our industry. You are not just leaders, you are beacons of excellence, lighting the way for all of us. And Jim, thanks for always having my back and never using that superhero memory of yours against me, at least not yet. Thank you, Jim. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 14th Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, Jim Kelly, JK.
Wow. So this is pretty overwhelming. Didn't expect to see my picture plastered there for the entire time. And imagine that, we're in an award ceremony that's recognizing a ton of salespeople, and we're going to go way over time. That never happens. First off, thank you to Fred and Gina and the entire IES team for putting together this extraordinary event. Thank you for even being a part of this amazing group of talented individuals that are being recognized today. And then, of course, thank you to Joe Ayers for the introduction. Joe talked about it. I've known him for 25 years as a colleague, as my direct boss, as my fiercest competitor, and then more importantly, as my friend. I would like to believe that I came to him as a fully formed salesperson, but he is absolutely one of the biggest influences on my leadership style, and I'd appreciate everything you've done for me and my family. And then thank you to the partners. I'll be honest, I had a moment of panic when I realized all these people were coming up. I was like, is this going to be a Tom Brady roast type of scenario? I mean, this might end really poorly. I know Tracy wanted to. But thank you for the partners, sponsors, Craig for the dinner or the lunch not that long ago, and then everybody that actually got up and said nice, kind words about me. It is extremely appreciated. But most importantly, thank you to my family who's here today. They don't get to see me on stage. They don't get to see me recognized very often. The life of a professional salesperson is not easy on your family, whether it's long hours or constant travel or even just never being able to vacation in the month of September. It's difficult for them, and they have absolutely been supportive from the very get-go. In fact, I kind of asserted all the time that I knew I could do this sales thing when I convinced my wife 32 years ago to go on a date with me, and I'm truly blessed to have her in my life. But the two biggest contributions I have to society are my kids. Jacob will be a senior at JMU next year, and my daughter Riley will be a freshman at JMU next year. Go Dukes. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think a lot of you probably know some of my backstory, or some of you know some of my backstory, but I doubt many, if any of you, know how full circle this event is, and I don't think Fred even knows this, which is interesting. So I had a humble childhood. I think a lot of people in this room probably did. Single mother from 10 years old on, barely making ends meet. She worked 12 plus hours a day, 6-7 days a week. I raised my two younger sisters pretty much when I was a kid myself. In fact, by the age of 15, I was a primary source of finances for our family. So I had to learn how to work hard young. But where the full circle comes in is actually several years later, many years later, when a neighbor of mine came up and asked if my wife and I would attend a charity event that he was emceeing. Of course, we said yes. We dropped my kids off at my mother's. My mother said, what's the event? Recognizing, I said, Northern Virginia Family Services. And she welled up immediately. And she said, you have no idea how many times we're in our darkest moments that Northern Virginia Family Services saved our family. So it is truly a blessing that they happen to be here today, because I can tell you, whether it was financial or well-being or even sending my sisters and I to a summer camp so we had some semblance of a normal childhood, they were an impactful part of my life, and I can't thank them enough. And the fact that they are celebrating their 100-year anniversary is an impressive feat all in itself. So thank you to Northern Virginia Family Services. So why is receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award from a Sales Excellence Group very special to me? I've been doing sales since I was 16 years old. Started working at AT&T, selling Watts lines, had many, many sales jobs prior to getting into the industry I'm in today. But my first outside sales job actually had a pretty profound impact on my sales career, probably not in a way you would imagine. So I was selling cable TV door to door. And my first week on the job, I was to shadow a 30-plus year sales veteran. And on the very first day of training, we were in the living room of a couple talking through rate plans and all the costs associated. And they asked to excuse themselves to the kitchen to discuss it in private. While they were in there, their little dog was nipping at my mentor's leg. And after a couple minutes, he got a little frustrated, and he reached down with his notepad, and he tried to tap it away, and he hit that little dog on the head, and it plopped over and did not move. I was staring at him, he's staring at me, and then he did something I would have never guessed. He reached down with his clipboard, and he shoved that little dog under the couch. The couple came out, and he proceeded to close the deal without even a hint of remorse. This was a telltale heart kind of situation for me. I could see it. You got to remember, I'm 19 years old, my first taste in outside sales, and this is what I'm dealing with. So we get up to leave, he closes the sale, and we walked outside, and luckily, miraculously, the little dog popped out from under the couch. No worse for the wearer, at least that's what I tell myself, so I can sleep at night. So when I got outside, my first thought was, yeah, I don't have the stomach to do this sales thing. Like, that's some pretty scary stuff. The second thought was, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to do anything for the sale. And I know it's really easy to lose yourself in this business and compromise your principles for money. But I decided right then I wasn't going to do that. And that's why a lot of the people in the room are not just colleagues or partners or Dell workers with me, but you're my friends. And I think that's really, really important as you continue to move forward. And I would like to believe that in 30-plus years in this industry, I haven't made a single enemy. Now, if you are an enemy, if you don't mind waiting until I get the reward before you voice it, I would really appreciate that. But I'll tell you, in this business, I've always considered selling my happy place. Like when I'm in front of a customer, or if I'm in a customer interaction, or I'm imparting wisdom on young and career sellers, that's when I'm at my best. It's the best part of the job. I don't get to do it enough. But a few weeks ago, one of my friend's daughters, who's a sophomore at Pepperdine, asked if she could interview me for her business class. Said, hey, it's on business leaders. Now, before you get too mushy, I'm pretty sure I wasn't the first choice. I'm dealing with that in my own way. One of her early questions was really impactful to me. She said, "What is your aspirational role in this business, and what have you done or would you do to prepare for it?" And I thought about it, and I think I kind of surprised myself when I came back with the job I'm in now. I got to remember, I got the Dell in 1999. My intent was to be a good salesperson, eventually move into leadership, hopefully continue to move up through the company. But at the end, the pinnacle of success in my eyes was always to run the Dell Federal team. And for a lot of reasons. Number one, I think it's the greatest customer in the world. I get to wake up every day thinking that there's a chance I can contribute to the safety and security of this country, which is an amazingly grounding thing. And then it's the people. Many of the people in the room that I work with every day, their commitment to the mission is nothing short of unparalleled. And it's a good reason why I feel like my Dell family and the partner community family are family. And I think that is a really important piece as I continue to go forward. So when my boss's boss called me and said, "Hey, Jim, are you interested in leading the federal team?" I didn't even hesitate. I said, "Absolutely." He said, "Great. Tomorrow morning, you're interviewing with the global sales leader, with the chief operating officer of Dell, and with Michael Dell." And I said, "Wow, that's fantastic." I'm excited and nervous. Now, to put it in perspective, an hour prior, I had received my second COVID vaccine shot. So when I woke up the next morning, I had 103 fever, and I still to this day do not remember 2 of the 3 interviews. You can probably guess which one I remember. About a week later, when the global sales leader actually called me to congratulate me on getting the job, I shared with him. I said, "Hey, look, I don't even remember our interview. 103 fever. I was borderline delirious." And he said, "Yeah, you were red-faced. I assumed you were nervous. It's a big job." But he said, "Other than that, I would have had no idea you were sick. You articulated your plan extremely effectively, and you gave all 3 of us a glimpse into what makes you you, and it made it very clear and obvious that you were the right person for the job." And I share that with young and career people all the time on the value of preparation. You never know when the opportunity is going to rise. You never know when the call is going to come, and you never know what obstacle is going to be in your way when it comes. So preparation is key. And there are many people in this room that help me prepare for that interview, whether it be prepping me well ahead of time, sharing lessons learned or best practices, or simply being an ear for me to vent on throughout the course of my career. So with all that being said, I cannot thank you enough. Thank you to IES for this incredible honor. Thank you for all the partners and the people in the room. And thank you especially to my family. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, standing O.